The genesis of eGo CarShare started initially back in 1997 when a group of Boulder residents started what they called the Little Red Car Co-op. One of them owned a little red car and they started sharing that. And one of the participants in that program, Jamie York, had the idea to say, well, we can either just keep sharing this car on our own as a small little group or take this to the larger community. So at that point he had the idea to found Boulder CarShare, and we incorporated in 1998. The very key detail was getting a car.
I moved to Boulder in 1998 and I had a car that I almost never drove. I was on the bus one day and I saw a placard on the inside of the bus that had a picture of a traffic jam, and it said, "Be part of the solution, Boulder CarShare." So I called and they were excited to hear from me because they had a lot of great ideas of how to do Boulder CarShare, but didn't have any cars. We were looking for a way of transferring ownership, so I sold them the car for a promissory note of the value of the car, that they would only have to pay me if the car got ruined. I was happy and they were happy. The car was being put to use.
For several years, from 2001 to 2009, we were what I would consider quite a small, very community-based organization. We grew very organically. We added cars in as either more donations or loanations came our way. We went to community events, but most of it spread through word of mouth. So in 2009, several things happened. One is we got our first significant outside grant funding that allowed us to expand to Denver. As part of that, because we were expanding to Denver, we had to change our name from Boulder CarShare to eGo CarShare.
The car here at the Alliance Center was actually one of the first when eGo expanded their offices to Denver. Our partnership with eGo started in 2009, which is when eGo had extended their offices to the Denver region. eGo has a hybrid electric vehicle that my team actually utilizes on a very regular basis. We have a company account that makes it really easy for my team to use. We are so thrilled to have them here.
Since the beginning of our organization, we've had an emphasis on equity. It's always been at the heart and soul of our organization. I mean, it was members coming together who either chose not to own a car or couldn't afford to own a car on their own. We work directly with some affordable housing agencies such as Boulder Housing Partners, Denver Housing Authority, and Habitat for Humanity to provide their residents with what we call a transportation toolkit, which included discounted access to CarShare use, B-cycle memberships, and also transit passes.
I live at this Tapiz building in the Mariposa area. I began to realize that the light rail and buses weren't going to do everything I needed. There were things I needed vehicles for. And if you don't own a car, it makes all the difference in the world. I have got a friend who's in a wheelchair, extremely low income, and she doesn't have enough food every month. We're very close, and so I can go to food banks, but I end up gathering quite a bit of food. It is so wonderful to have a vehicle and say, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And the food arrives intact, and it's just a huge blessing because it would be a real problem to have to do bus and light rail. So she benefits too, and I do too.
As founded, the mission of our organization is to provide and promote alternatives to individual car ownership. One of the key reasons that we're motivated to do so is that each CarShare car replaces 9 to 13 individually owned cars. So by getting people to drive less and own fewer cars, we need less parking space for cars. We have more space actually for things like parks, like this. I actually would view our organization as an empowerment organization. We're empowering people to live without a car, which is a really big thing, especially in the U.S. As I reflect on the past 20 years, I definitely feel a very strong sense of pride and accomplishment. We still are very rooted in the community in all that we do.
When you put together the products, the wonderful vehicles, the variety, and you put together the people that make up this company, it's just absolutely unbeatable. I can't say enough good things about eGo CarShare.
When I gave away my car, years ago, I was actually keeping track of the costs that I was saving through not having a car, traveling and commuting on foot and by bus, and eGo really came to my aid. And as I've used it, I've introduced it to other people who are struggling financially or just don't have a wealth of resources and don't own a car, and it's really a gift.
Even though I'm one of the higher users of CarShare, I know that I'm getting a huge value. I have new vehicles, clean vehicles, and safe vehicles ready to go, and I don't even have to think about it. If I need to call, I know I will get somebody immediately. It's usually going to be somebody I know and I enjoy talking to, and they usually help me to get resolved within minutes. I just feel like they're part of my family and part of my friendships.
Many of the trips I do are within a 3-mile radius now, and I'm doing them by biking, walking, riding the bus. And what that's done for me is given me more connection to my community. eGo CarShare is a really great way to make trips happen that are outside that 3-mile radius. eGo CarShare is such a fantastic resource to the community. It's a great way to become less dependent on our own vehicles.
eGo CarShare is such an amazing asset for our community. When you have population growth booming in the Denver area, the Front Range region like we do, traffic is just more and more congested every day. And one way to really reduce that is reducing our reliance on single occupancy vehicles, and that's exactly what eGo CarShare does. It's just such an amazing benefit to be able to participate in the sharing economy.
I'm glad eGo CarShare is there as an option. Our organization has used it when we've needed the vehicles, whether to move bikes or pick up the items from a hardware store, and I've always loved to know that there's a vehicle there whenever we need it.
I've had the opportunity to watch eGo CarShare evolve through all of the different technological advances and the logistical needs of a car sharing organization. They've been exceptionally strong in adapting to those opportunities to make a more efficient and effective car sharing system, and they've been such a welcome addition to our transportation infrastructure. I'm so excited about the future of eGo CarShare as it evolves, and I know that they're going to continue to be solid addition to our transportation system for years to come.
At eGo CarShare, we've come a long ways in the last 20 years, and we really couldn't have done it without you, our amazing, committed family of members, partners, and of course, our dedicated staff and volunteers. As we move into our 3rd decade of creating a more just, sustainable, and equitable community for everyone, we will continue in pursuit of our mission. This includes providing equitable mobility for everyone, while linking up other ways to get there by walking, biking, and transit. Our next big project in order to amplify the environmental benefits of car sharing is to electrify our fleet with the hope to become the nation's first nonprofit EV car share company. So from all of us here at eGo CarShare, thank you for being a part of our story and our family, and together we will get there better.